Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, rookie cameraman with me. No mic, so I'm using camera mic, so I guess I gotta stand closer. I should have brought my mic today. We are filming without Caleb. Bo is behind the camera. He's already drifting low. Are you cutting off the top of my head now? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, focus, Bo, focus. We're gonna drive this van in an attempt to get it to act out. My brother has not had a chance and he's overwhelmed with work, and I told him, I said, hey, we'll come drive it and see if we can break it. So that's what we're doing. I haven't started this yet. My brother said that it happens for the guy when it sits for a while. So we really wanna look back again at this voltage feed for the fuel injectors. And I am still connected. I left everything connected from last time. And that should be pretty good right there. If I turn this key on, let's get a digital reading there too. 11.46, let me do that again. Key off, key on. There was like a weird initial drop. Let's see if I can see that. That's maybe fuel pump was running, probably a prime in here. Fuel pump turned off, so voltage rose. Yeah, I don't really see anything. Okay. Pretty much it. Bo, we're just looking at voltage. You don't have to zoom in or anything. This is to you. I'm just looking at voltage feed to one bank of fuel injectors that's intermittently dropping out, we believe, and causing a 4-cylinder misfire. We were not able to duplicate it the last time we drove it. So that's really what we're doing at this point. So I recruited Bo to be my cameraman. Caleb's got his hands full on some edits today. And so my brother, like I said, didn't have a real chance to drive this. He's overwhelmed. And so we're just gonna drive it in hopes that we can recreate the fault. So I figured we'd turn the camera back on for this part because we're gonna drive through Green Man Tunnel. I shared the legend of the Green Man with you guys before. We're gonna drive through it again. It's a nice bumpy road. The legend of the Green Man. Yeah, you're right. It's the tunnel just to the left. Over there, train tunnel. People fish here, of course. Know you're coming. Oh, I got low voltage. I got 8 volts. I got 8 volts right now. It was the Green Man. Either my ground came loose or this is our problem right here. Low voltage. I'm like 7 volts right now. Yeah. Oh, it's even less. It's dropping even more. 6 volts. That's awesome. Okay, sweet. Oh, it just jumped as soon as I put it in park. Whoa, that's weird. Drive, it's low. Oh. Just a coincidence. It just jumped back up. Well, I saw it. Okay, plan of attack. So I'm down at the fuel injector. I really want to get to the wire up at the fuse box. No, I don't need to. I need it to drop low again like that. And then we're going to go under the hood and we're going to shake the fuse box. But just me like putting it in park was maybe enough engine movement. It's not my ground on my test lead. I was worried about that, but we had it. It wasn't an immediate drop to 0 volts like I thought it was gonna be. was a gradual fall in voltage. Was it after I blew the horn? It was like I blew the horn and then it did it. Wow, there was some extra hash in there when I blew the horn. Why would the horn make a difference? It shouldn't. It's not even on the same circuit.
It's just really bumpy on this road, so it's hard to...
Yeah, bumpy is what I wanted though. Like I did that intentionally. Yeah, look at those. I'm hitting bumps and I'm getting drops. Yeah, come on. Show me your ugly face again, please. Definitely get voltage drops whenever I hit the horn.
Why would you get voltage drops if you beat the horn?
Well, the horn's gonna come from the same fuse box. It's not on the same circuit, so I shouldn't be. So big drops there over those bumps. See that huge drop right there?
I ain't getting. Your arm was blocking it.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, there you go.
There it is! Okay. Oh no! Okay, we have... Oh, that's such a cool pattern. Surprisingly, we haven't... Well, I haven't really gotten into it. It's like surprising that it's still able to operate here. We're in it, man. We got it. We got it. We got it. All right, stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Come on. Give me some love. 2 volts on that circuit. I need to carefully, gently. We're gonna go under the hood. I'm trying not to make any vibrations because the first thing I want to touch is this fuse box. Stay with me here for a second, Bo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop the hood. Hopefully when I pop the hood. Okay, good. All right, follow me out there. It's this fuse right here. I don't know if you can see where my hand's pointing. It's this fuse right here.
Yep.
I need a second channel. Okay, let me just grab the fuse box and move it. Okay, let me grab this harness underneath. Make sure I'm not, son of a
Bad connection.
Stay focused where I'm touching. It was my ground the whole time. It was my ground. As soon as I touched that, my voltage, that's why I didn't have any drivability problems. That sucks. It was my ground, Bo. I was so excited too. False alarm. I was surprised I wasn't feeling drivability problems with those drops, and it makes sense now why I wasn't, because it was my ground connection for my scope. This is one of those ones where it's a work van with 183,000 miles. It has 3 connections at that same fuse. 2 injectors, and then ignition coils. For it to set all 4 injector codes with 4 wires going to that fuse box, all 4 go there, and they go into 2 and 2 splices. It can't be a wiring problem downstream. So given that I believe it can't be a downstream problem from the fuse box, because it would have to involve 4 separate wires. That is possible. I didn't see anything like that. But because of that, do you roll the dice and sell the customer a fuse box? You can't get it to act up. It's a work van. And I think the answer is possibly yes. Would it be worth further investigation into the wiring harness, pulling the doghouse, really going through it with a fine-tooth comb beforehand? I think no. visually, what we looked at, everything looks okay. I think you sell the fuse box because you have a million other cars to work on, and you've already burned up your diagnostic time that you're getting paid for already. Hard to justify more in these circumstances. We just did a video talking about selling diagnostic time, and this is one where I don't think it's rolling the dice. It's an educated guess that you sell him a fuse box. And that's probably what my advice to my brother is gonna be. And then worst case scenario, you definitely leave it open for the customer. You make sure the customer knows exactly where you are and why you're calling the fuse box. You don't promise him a fix for that. It's his work van, he needs it. He needs it to go make money. And you need it out of your shop. And you also need to eliminate the fuse box as a cause for this condition. So best case scenario, it fixes it. Worst case scenario, you now know for sure that you're dealing with some type of harness issue. Again, this is a gray area. I'm not saying that there's one approach that's better than the other. Of course, in a perfect world, you absolutely 100% verify that it's not a harness problem before you ever sell the fuse box. How much time do you have in on that is a factor. How much time is the customer willing to spend paying you to investigate that possibility? All of those things are factors. Proceed as you will. There is, this road's really bouncy.
Yeah.
There is not one right way to do this on where we are. I think for us, where we are, the time involved, like this is my second day looking at this. My brother's had at least a day driving it. We got way more time than we'll ever be able to bill out. Give it back to the customer. Tell him to put a fuse box in it. Or sell him the fuse box. Communication with him is important. I think that's the direction we're going. You know, we've never even seen it. I've never even seen it do it. I think we're done with this. I don't know that there's much else I'm going to show. I think that, you know, we'll probably record what I tell my brother. That'll be the last thing. I'm going to have Bo right now turn this camera off. I'll leave the desktop recording going on this. That way, if I see anything, then we can turn the camera back on and get you guys back in here. But next up is probably a discussion with my brother. And I'm getting some major drops again. But this looks different. This looks different. I'm misfiring. Oh, bad. I'm misfiring bad.
I feel it.
Dude, I'm like running on 4 cylinders here. It's bad. That's my problem. That's not my ground. I'm getting drops, major drops in this. There you go, just cleaned up. Crazy. There it is, it's back. All right, I need to pull over somewhere. Stay doing it, come on. Yeah. Same area down here at this fuse. Ready? Still there. Problem is still.
Oh, change.
Just keep your camera where my hand is. Underneath. I'm surprised that touching the fuse box is not like bringing it right back. I really want to measure this fuse and I can't. There we go. I grabbed that fuse and pushed on it. As soon as I grabbed, fuse pinched and pushed, and that made my misfire go away. Now it's back. Sweet. Watch some. Can you see my hand?
No.
Let me switch hands. This one right here. Can you see my hand?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna push forward. Push back this way. Misfire is gone. Now it's back. Our problem's in this box. Let's see if I can reach underneath it. Come over here. See if I can push up one of these connectors. It's really me pushing that fuse. Our problem's right there in this box. Absolutely.
So would it be the fuse or the fuse box?
It's gonna be the box. Like there's a voltage drop inside, right really at the fuse connector. Yep. Okay, let's go back. So the nice thing about that for me, after seeing that, and after making it come and go by grabbing that fuse, it's now worth, I think, taking the fuse box out. I mean, sell the job first. We're gonna sell them a fuse box. But it's worth it at that point then to take the fuse box out and then really take a look at it inside. You know, that's something right there. People throw all kind of parts at cars for problems like that. You know, it's misfiring, so what do? They put coils, put plugs in it, put injectors in it, intake gaskets, engine computers. Absolutely 100% confirmed that we are dropping voltage to our fuel injectors. There we go. Cylinder, let's see, injectors, and misfire. All four. So I was only, to be clear, I was only watching the number one fuel injector with my hook tool on the power feed wire. And this is showing you that it's more than the number one fuel injector. It's all four, and that's the fuse that I was wiggling. And then previously I proved to everyone that this system will not flag ignition coil primary faults with power missing to all the ignition coils because of the way the system's monitored. The transistors are inside the coil. If this was a two-wire coil where the transistors were inside the engine computer, it may code differently than this design where the driver is in the coil and the computer's still sending its square waves on the base circuit to turn those coils on. My point is, the engine computer is not going to have the same type of knowledge of no power to the ignition coil as it would with this design, with the transistor inside of the coil, as it would if the transistor was inside the engine computer. And I believe that's why it's not coding those ignition coils. But we are setting fault codes for the injectors, and it's all four. Fuse box, absolutely, is our problem. At least in that area, within the area of the fuse box. So we have probably somewhere between, just finding this fall, somewhere between 2 to 3 hours in this. And my brother's probably only gonna bill the customer for an hour of diagnostic time. And that's just the unfortunate part of our field. I mean, unless you are absolutely 100% clear with your customer along the way, then it's really hard to justify that. And you know, he'll be able to, because we've been able to pinpoint the problem area. Now my brother can bill for the job, bill for the fuse box and the labor to replace the fuse box, and maybe be able to recoup some of that time within that. Now he won't do that because I'm the one that's spending most of the time, and I don't charge for labor times at all for what I do for my brother. The camera pays me now. But I'm always looking out for you guys and how to bill and how to sell, and that's my motivation behind this. It's not about me, it's about teaching you guys how to do this and make money along the way on a job like this. And I really feel like if you communicate properly with your customer along the way, like you call them after an hour, tell them where you were and where you are, and you know how much more you might need. Stuff like that enables you to get paid for this kind of time. But sometimes it's difficult and you can't do it. I get it. You're in a vehicle you can't brake, and all you've done is drove it around and hooked up a scope to the #1 fuel injector, and you did some things. You should be paid at least your hour, but it's hard to pick up the phone and sell another hour and sell another hour just in waiting for it to happen. And so somewhere in there lies the approach of changing a part. Change a part. We're going to try this part. All of our tests point to this location. This is where we're going to go. We make no promises. Again, communication is key. We make no promises, Mr. or Mrs. Customer. We're going to put this part in. You're going to pay me the labor to do it. You're going to pay me the labor for my 1 hour diagnostic time. We're going to roll the dice here a little bit. Be upfront with them. Tell them it may not fix it, and if it doesn't, to bring it back, and then we'll go from there. This is just the way it works. As a garage owner, as a technician, you guys understand what I'm talking about. You got 15 other cars again you got to look at today, and we should not be working for free. We have to figure out how to do this better together. We have to figure out how to do this better. I am misfiring again.
Yeah. Very
bad. You feel it?
I feel it.
Yeah. Yes, check engine lights flashing at me.
Does a misfire be like it's not what's going on with the misfire, like inside?
All 4 fuel injectors on this bank and all 4 ignition coils on this bank are not firing right now. Or they're actually firing, they're just intermittently not firing. All those drops you see are no voltage going to all of those components.
So would they not be like
no spark and no fuel.
No spark, no fuel.
Yep, and it's an 8-cylinder engine, so we're only getting contributions from 4 cylinders on the one bank, and intermittently on this bank, they're coming and going. That's what you're feeling. That's why it's not consistently lopey. It's kind of like inconsistent frequencies in the vibration. It's exactly what we're seeing here. We're gonna have trouble getting up this hill if this doesn't clear up. I'm gonna have to put my 4-ways on here in a second. The nice thing though is we're not over fueling and killing the cat because the injectors aren't firing the same time the coils aren't firing. Even though my check engine light's blinking at me, telling me, hey, cat monitor, or catalyst damaging misfire, the injectors aren't firing, so we're not over fueling.
So would the combustion just be off timing then?
Yeah, it's more than, the combustion is just not there. So when it pulls in air and fuel like it should be, and then closes the valves and squeezes it, there's no fuel there. So even if there was spark, it wouldn't fire.
Okay.
And but it's not getting fuel. So it's a go. This is as fast as I can go. Oh, there we go. There we go. It was bad. Yeah, but to answer your question, Bo, we're not getting any fuel into the cylinder, so even if there was spark, it's not gonna matter. But we're also dropping spark too. Based on the wiring diagram, which you don't know, like the diagram setup, that this is missing spark and fuel at the same time because of this fuse box issue.
Do diesel engines use spark plugs?
Good question. They do not. They use compression ignition.
Is it just all compression?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And gas engines are almost the same in that we squeeze the pressures so high that it almost self-ignites. And the spark is really just the final piece to start that flame front and complete the burn. All right, let's go into the hood and see if we can make this do it again by wiggling some stuff. We'll just go in the back of the fuse because I want to monitor both sides of the fuse. And so second channel, we're going to pull in another voltage trace. It's going to be this fuse right here.
Yeah, I got it from this angle.
I don't have peak detect turned on that channel. That's why it looks different. So let's turn that on. This side of the fuse, and right now they're the same, of course. Let's overlay these. Right at the top of each other. And what I need to do is wiggle this fuse in hopes to make it happen again. I mean, even if I don't, we're calling a fuse box here. Something metal. Can't make it do it. Be nice to be able to see it one more time.
Yeah.
I've just done this long enough to make me nervous. I'm always nervous about a call like this when you can't absolutely 100% prove it. But I showed you guys the wiring routing. It really just, it goes into this loom up here, and there's really not a whole lot of area where we can have a problem. It's like a bulkhead here, but that goes where? Somewhere else, I think. Yeah, because there was no connectors. If you remember when we looked at the fuse box diagram, there were no connectors. There's no specific connector for those injector circuits that go straight from the fuse box. All of those wires go right to that G connector that's underneath the fuse box. So there was a bulkhead I just got my hands super greasy touching that doesn't even go through there. I think what I'm gonna do at this point, guys, is well, I gotta go talk to Danner. Let me stop this recording. We'll see how he wants to proceed. Okay. We got it to do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what we believe, and I can't 100% prove it, fuse box. Absolutely got it to do it. Absolutely is not setting ignition coil codes like we thought. I couldn't measure the fuse because I didn't have the adapter with me to measure the fuse.
At the time.
At the time it happened. I tried getting it in the parking lot here. But I was able to make it go away by pushing on the fuse in one direction and making it come back by pushing on the fuse in another direction.
Oh, just the fuse socket.
The fuse itself. But I don't believe it. That's where our problem is. I think it's deeper inside, and you know, this is one where how much more investigation do you want to go?
Just
get the fuse. Just get the fuse box. And
last
we
one
could
I got wasn't that bad. It came loaded with everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's not a smart junction box.
Yeah.
It's to plug and play, be done with it. Now we could go in and do some further investigation But then, you know, we're talking about time involved and how busy you are, and I'm like, what's the point? Like, we might go in there and not even see anything. We've seen, like that. Remember the Cadillac with the eyelet and the ground? What are you going to see there? You can have the same kind of things in here.
You have layers probably in that thing. You know, so to take that apart and then mark all the fuses and try to investigate what's wrong.
I could spend another hour. You could spend another hour doing that easily. And to the community, they want to see it. They're like, oh, why don't you pull it apart?
Well, we might, but we're ordering a new one to fix it.
That's exactly right, because we have both. I have jobs to do, you have jobs to do. I've seen enough to say, let's put a fuse box in this thing.
So you lost power feed on your...
It was dropping. It was like, I was getting spikes on it. At first we went through Green Man Tunnel and I was like, oh sweet, it's doing it. But it was, my ground was bad on my test lead. So that sucked. But then we actually got it to do it. I proved it. I have it captured it on film that we are absolutely dropping power just as we thought. But I'm only monitoring the #1 injector, and I was telling everyone else, this is a 4-cylinder Misfire. I could barely drive it. So I know I'm dropping to everything else.
And the codes are showing, the Misfire counts are showing.
We're dropping to everything.
One of the legs of those 3, it's probably all of it.
And that's right. And here's the thing about it, and we'll try to say this one more time, is like all 4 injector wires come in, and then they go 2 and 2. And then the coil's here. So you have 2, 2, but we're losing all 4. Our problem is right there. And then I was worried because there's oil and stuff and there's connectors around that. But then I remembered in the wiring diagram, there's no connectors. There is no connector. It goes from the injectors to the fuse box. So all the connectors that are around in that vicinity, there's nothing. And the wiring harness looks perfect. And there's no way, in my opinion, that we have 4 wires that have corrosion, that are all 4 at the same time.
But you said you touched the fuse and you got it to do.
I was, but I mean, I touched it at first and it didn't, and then I touched it and then it did, and then I touched it and it didn't.
You're
and
not sure.
So
there's heat involved, and you know.
I see enough to sell the guy a fuse box. And I don't see a reason, like what we were talking before, is like, should we keep it open? Should we sell him the fuse box, which I was suggesting we were going to do anyway, before I saw it. Should we sell him the fuse box and keep it open for, you know, we can't really duplicate it, but this is what it most likely is. I don't think we even need to have that conversation with him now. I think we sell him the fuse box. And I'm like 99.9% sure. I would like to be 100% sure that I can absolutely duplicate it each time, but I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah, you'd almost have to, I mean, like you'd have to have part of the fuse instrumented, then you'd have to have the 3 wires come, or this 5, but the 3 ports coming off instrumented. And
I'd have to be underneath.
See that I have power here and not here.
That's the only way I'd be able to catch it. And the problem with that is the more I wiggle things, the less it does it. So then, you know, I'm never going to prove it. We have enough, absolutely sell the job. Fuse box. I guess that's it. I mean, guys, listen, I'm probably not sticking around for a follow-up on that one or to show you what a known good one looks like, because the whole time we've been driving it, that's what it looks like.
Just take one of those clips and just put a, hey, it's fixed.
It's fixed. So, you know, I mean, we'll follow up in the comments down the road when you guys maybe don't believe me that was the fix, but that's the call. That's what we're calling on this work van.
Nice.
Talk to me.
I was just gonna say full disclosure, I don't remember which fuse it was, and I stole a 20 amp fuse out of this port.
It was
I don't know if it was
down in the end. Wasn't it a 10? Wasn't it that one? It was a different fuse.
It was a 20 amp.
Was it a 20? Oh, it's this one then. It's that one.
Oh, so this was sitting this way.
No, it was on the end.
Oh yeah, you're right, because this is where the bulk thing. Yeah, it was down here.
So I want to look at which fuse was the one bank. There was like bank 1 and bank 2. Is it those 2 fuses?
Might be, yeah.
I think it is, and it was this one. It was the one you changed. Okay, so I at least have a track I can follow.
Dude, you probably got to like pull every freaking fuse out.
So you can't even see. Let me see the
well,
board.
there's like layers.
There's no wires. So this is an entire circuit board. It's not wires. It plugs in.
And everything's soldered together.
And is there evidence of water on like any of those pins? And do they even correspond? Like the fuse is these 2 guys. That one, like look in that area. Is there anything?
Problem is that's up here, and then it goes through this circuit board, which I might be able to.
Is that coming apart any further? It's not really, huh? Just look down in there. If you don't see anything, I don't care. I just thought maybe, you know, the viewers would be interested in seeing
My guess is you're
was
going to probably have an issue with like one of these little freaking crank solder joints.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah, and our old asses can't see solder joints anymore without magnifying glasses. So,
There it is. Ha! Here it is.
No,
Yep. Here's that fuse,
hold on.
right?
Let me get my glasses on. All right,
No, you're not looking for the bad one yet.
Okay,
you're just trying to see up in here.
I'm looking at good ones, right? The solder joint. Yeah,
Oh, nice up in here.
Yeah,
that
this
one.
Second one in. I see it. It's burnt.
Yep.
I can see the separation of the solder joint.
Have a better idea.
So we can say totally fixable if you have the patience.
I mean, you'd have to somehow try to separate all these solder joints because it's up a level. My guess is it's not fixable easily. It's not worth it.
You're gonna keep going.
I am. I mean,
I just can't get the angle I need. No better than what we had. Where's Caleb at?
Jesus camp.
Vacation Bible school for the layperson.
I'm not fixing it now.
Danner doesn't even get paid for any of this. He sees no benefits.
No, it's just a waste of time. Could be at home. There, you can see it now. See how that one's burnt to the right? You can even see the burn mark on it. And if you look at it about 1 o'clock, you can see where it's not soldered anymore. But you can see the color change. You can see the color difference in the board there, right?
But it is fixable for someone who has maybe a lot of patience, but you said they got to unsolder the second half of the board, so maybe not.
Most likely.
Maybe not then.
Unless you took all the fuses out and you could get to it from the top and try to do something. But
okay. 120 bucks for the...
I think it cost me $130 and it listed at $190, $180, $190.
Okay.
You know.
And what about like people online searching? Is that where you got it?
I got it from a GM dealer.
Oh, okay.
So the list is going to be like around 190.
Okay, cool.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Well, I'm transferring files from today, and I do have one more piece to add. And this isn't something I saw when I was on the road, but I can definitely see it now. We can see repetition in this pattern. And what we're looking at, remember, I'm on the #1 fuel injector power feed. And that this fires even and odd coils per fuse, and it fires even and odd injectors. So what we're seeing is a repeat pattern. You see the low spikes. See, they're groups of four. And this is typically what you see on these. These are my coil firing events, which is higher amperage. So of course it's going to drop voltage lower. So down to about 2.5 volts roughly. So that's a coil firing event. So look from right here. This would be, not sure exactly, whether it's 1, 3, 5, 7 in that order, but it is those four that are firing, and you see the repeat here. So from here, and then 2, and 1, and back to 1. So from right here to right here is 720 degrees of crankshaft rotation. And in that time frame, we're going to fire 4 coils. 1, 2, 3, 4 per bank. We're going to fire 8 actually. The other ones are in between here. They're opposites. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The double would be in here on the other side. Your singles are in here. So these are coil firing events. And here's your injectors. Here, 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 and here. I'm seeing voltage drops on all 4 coils and on all 4 fuel injectors per 720 degrees of rotation on the one fuse that feeds all of them, and I'm connected to the #1 fuel injector to see it. So that's pretty awesome that I'm seeing that, and that confirms exactly what we thought, which is our problem is in the box itself, and it really is on that main fuse. It probably is right underneath the connection of the fuse itself. But pretty cool that you can see the lower voltage drops from the injectors firing, from those 4 injectors firing, and the higher voltage drops from the coils firing. So I just thought that was interesting. I know you guys probably saw it before me. When you're road testing, it's hard to pick up on those things. But that is clear